It is the Reier on YouTube channel, and it is time once again for Second Helping, the show of choice for fans and followers of the number one league in all of collegiate athletics, the Southeastern Conference. I'm Travis Reier, joined by my longtime great friend and co-host, Mr. Brent Beaird, most recently college football analyst for First Coast News down in Jacksonville, Florida. Brent, also a voter for the Heisman Trophy, which is getting more and more interesting, it seems, by the week. We got risers, we've got fallers, a lot to keep up there with Brent. Brent, very wise throughout the years. He kind of keeps that vote sort of to himself, which is a requisite of Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, it is.
Brent.
But
in terms of making those final determinations, I know you've talked a lot about that. Waiting until we get through conference championship week.
Yes.
Well, Brett, let's get things started because college football playoff, the latest reveal, there's drama with that situation, starting with the committee because Mack Rhodes had to step aside. And now we've learned today Mack Rhodes is out as the AD at Baylor. Hunter Yurachek is in there, the Arkansas AD, and we saw in this most recent reveal, understanding we've still got a couple of three of these to go before it really matters. But from the Southeastern Conference perspective, your take on what we saw here a couple of nights ago, still had 5 SEC teams in the top 10, looking like potentially a 5-bid league. But were you able to take away anything from this latest unveiling that made you either feel confident that 5 teams might actually get in, or did you take away from it, might be hard to get 5 in?
Yeah. I still think it's just tad early, but with A&M at 3, Georgia at 4, Ole Miss at 6, and then Oklahoma at 8, and Bama at 10. Bama took quite a fall going from the upper echelon, but look, the committee talking about the Alabama lack of a running game was a head scratcher, frankly. And look, the team that's overlooked, Vanderbilt, is 14. I'm not saying they're going to get in necessarily, but Vandy that's 8-2, that certainly has done well. We've got also a list of the games. Vanderbilt's got Kentucky and then at Tennessee, so they could lose one of those games, could win them all. With that, Oklahoma's with Missouri and LSU. Ole Miss only with Mississippi State. Georgia's got Georgia Tech. Bama's got Auburn. A&M's got Texas. So, Trav, I can see why the league basically came out and said, we will not comment on this until the final games. And I think probably there's some wisdom in that, going virtually to the last week, not really sure what's going to happen.
And there's some scenarios where one of the representatives in the SEC championship game gets left out in all this.
Oh, yeah.
And I know a lot of that discussion is centered on Alabama, and I get it. Because in that scenario, Alabama would be a 3-loss team. The committee has been pretty vague in response to, well, how are you going to measure teams in conference championship situations relative to other teams that had 2 losses and didn't even qualify for a conference championship game? And I think what we've heard is, well, it's just going to be another measuring point. Well, what does that mean? In the grand scheme of things? And look, I don't think of it just in terms of Alabama potentially. What if Texas A&M, is there a path for A&M to lose to Texas and still get into the SEC championship game, or are they out? Because if they're out, they're going to be in the CFP. If they're out of Atlanta with 1 loss, they'll still be in the CFP. But let's say they got into Atlanta after losing to Texas. What if they lost in Atlanta and dropped 2 straight and then had 2 losses? And then you start nitpicking scenarios like this. A lot of what ifs, obviously. Vanderbilt, I don't think is in a great situation right
Mm-hmm.
now.
Mm-hmm.
But if some things happen here the next couple of 3 Saturdays, Vanderbilt could find itself as being that fifth SEC team. It's just a lot to say. We still have,
Yeah,
doesn't seem like we have that much to go, but we still have a lot to play out.
we do. We do. That there's no question about that at all. And frankly, Trav, if you're an SEC school, look, I get what it means to play for a championship. I get what it means to win a championship. But the reality is now with the playoff,
Yeah.
in as many games as you've got to win in
Uh-huh.
order to be a national champion. I mean, Trav, wouldn't it almost help you not to be in the championship game if you knew you still could get in the playoffs?
Yeah. I think there's the potential for precedent coming up here,
Mm-hmm.
especially in leagues like the Big Ten and the SEC,
Mm-hmm.
the golden geese
Mm-hmm.
of this situation. So if you start leaving out championship game participants, what's truly the value
Yeah.
for those
Right.
teams?
Right.
Um, and then I think it becomes, well, what's the viability of championship games? Well, the financial impact is the
Sure.
viability.
Oh yeah.
But, maybe you start to hear a push for, well, I'll tell you what, let's just have the playoff selection on the Sunday after the regular season finale on Thanksgiving weekend. And then if you still want to play conference championship games,
Mm-hmm.
almost like an
Mm-hmm.
exhibition situation
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
money the next weekend, like a bowl
Mm-hmm.
game of sorts,
Yeah.
go ahead and
Yeah.
do that.
Oh yeah.
That's probably not going to happen, but that would almost be my response.
Yes.
If I was the AD or the commissioner of a league that, like the SEC or the Big Ten, and I had one of my teams punished or penalized for making the conference
Mhm.
championship
Mhm.
game,
Mhm.
then what's the workaround here? Because they're not going away. I can't imagine them going
Oh,
away. The
no, no,
conference championship
no,
games, because the
no.
the money is too much right now. Now
It is.
anything's possible, I guess, but I can't envision that right now.
Well, I agree with that, and it's been that way for a long, long time. I mean, what the league makes on that championship game, I mean, it's like I don't know how many combined games it would be to make that. That would be interesting to be able to know that. But your reality of it is, you're going to have teams that are. I mean, look, what they don't want to do. It's great to go win a trophy, but if
Mhm.
you're going to the playoffs, Trav, and you get what, four starters out
Yeah.
for the rest of the year. I mean, look, I get that logic of what you want to do with that. So my question is, I think that's what they're talking about now behind closed doors is there a way eventually that we can do something with this championship game or have that weekend mean something
Mhm.
that the winner would be able to play for? I think there's a little bit of that going on too.
Yeah. Yeah. Going to be interesting, no doubt about it. But from the SEC perspective, again, when you talk about teams that are either in that mix right now or just on the outside looking in, like a Vanderbilt, I think we'll work through some of this with some of our
Mhm.
previews
Yeah,
tonight. But you think about it. I mean, Texas A&M, that's a losable game at Texas
sure
in a
it is.
couple weeks.
Yes.
Georgia, even though Georgia's done with
Hmm.
SEC play, Georgia Tech that same weekend.
Hmm.
Ole Miss should beat Mississippi State, but that game's in Starkville. We'll see.
Hmm.
Alabama has to go to Auburn in prime time. Uh, Vanderbilt has to go to Tennessee. Oklahoma has Missouri and LSU still to play.
Hmm.
Both those games at Norman, but stranger things have happened. So a
Yes.
lot to play out here in these next couple of weeks, and we'll certainly look forward to talking about it with you right here on Reier on YouTube. What about Lane Kiffin, Brent? I'm not
Well,
surprised that there's
yeah.
been sort of interaction. The back channel stuff you kind of expect while the
Yeah. Oh,
season's
yeah.
still going on,
Yeah. Yes.
especially when a team like Ole Miss is very much in the midst
Hmm.
of the college
Hmm.
football playoff hunt and the potential to maybe do some damage in the college football playoff. But it's almost brazen, isn't it, that you're flying family members around
Yeah,
to
that's
check
true.
out, to do
Yeah,
reconnaissance
yeah, for like yes,
work at LSU and
yeah,
Florida. And you could kind of, now when you think about it, boy, from the Florida perspective, it really started to ratchet up over the weekend about
mhm,
Lane being pretty much a done deal. And
yes,
now in
yes,
retrospect, you know where that was coming from. A lot of these people knew or had heard Lane or his,
yeah,
family had visited
mhm,
Gainesville over the
mhm,
weekend. And then the next day you see the same travel party, I guess, checking out Baton Rouge. So
yeah,
just so many layers to this Lane thing. And at the end of the day, this is Lane. And if you
yeah,
get him, this is what you're getting in
mhm,
Lane Kiffin too.
mhm. And look, I would even say in Lane's defense, after losing his dad and having other personal things happen in his life, that and look, there, you know, can people argue? Well, there's still some immaturity there. Yeah, you could, but look, I think Lane's grown up somewhat, particularly after losing Monty, his dad. I mean, you can't lose your father and not have it affect you.
Mm-hmm.
But still, to your point, when you've got Ole Miss and you've got LSU and you've got Florida that are involved with this, and this is why people have said, and I'll be brief with this, that after Lane makes a decision, some of these other things will fall in place,
Mm-hmm.
and that would make some sense. I mean, you've got Knox, who's his son. He's a sophomore at Oxford High School, and is a really good quarterback. We understand. So what is he going to do, and how's that going to affect it? So, I mean, yeah, it's a soap opera to some degree, but and look, I know people love to have a decision now, but I also understand why you can't really make a decision until after the season's over. But as soon as that's over, I understand the need for clarity, not only for Lane and his family and for Ole Miss, but all these other folks who are involved with this. And look, I mean, Trev, we think about Lane when he was at Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
and when Lane was with the Raiders and Lane was with Tennessee, and now the cachet that he has in the college football world. And look, he's a tremendous offensive coach. There's no doubt about that. I mean, it still is amazing what goes on around him, is it not?
Oh, the thing about Lane Kiffin is he loves balls in the air. I mean,
Yes,
he
yes.
loves plates, juggling. He loves
Mhm.
it.
Oh yeah,
But it's also a blind spot for him and has been. So we can talk about Lane has changed, and I do agree. Personally, I don't think there's any doubt in his personal life. There have been some overhauling of things done there. But at the end of the day, Lane is still Lane.
yeah. He
Uh,
is. I
Lane
agree.
has all the leverage in this situation.
He does,
He
doesn't he?
has all the leverage.
He
Ole Miss
really
doesn't have the
does.
leverage. Florida doesn't have the leverage. LSU doesn't have the
No,
leverage. So he
no.
does. To me, he doesn't have to be doing this type of
Mhm.
recon,
Yeah,
in front of everybody.
yeah,
I get it. Knox is a high school player, but hey, you don't think if you walk into Buchholz High School in
yeah.
Gainesville, Florida
Oh
with
yeah,
Knox
absolutely. Yeah.
that the word's not going to
Mhm,
get out
mhm.
that Lane's
Yeah.
doing his discovery work
Mhm,
in Gainesville.
mhm,
Same thing with LSU. He loves it at the end of the day.
mhm.
And it's part of the reason why he wasn't able to coach in the national championship game at the end of the
Yes.
2017 season
Right. That's right.
because he couldn't keep his eyes on the prize.
Yes.
Now, like to your point, he's a good enough coach that it may not matter. And the bottom line is at Ole Miss, you can do what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
At some other
Right.
places, not so much in all
Mhm.
likelihood. But right now, he's got all the leverage. So kind of like Nick Saban had with Alabama,
Yeah. Yeah.
at the end of
Mhm.
2006, December 2006. And, Nick was steadfast. He wasn't going to do anything until the
Yeah.
end of the season for the
Mhm.
Dolphins.
Sure.
Lane could be doing that right now,
Yep. Yeah. That's right.
but
Yeah.
he's not. He's not. And he's loving this. He's loving it right now.
But you know, the more amazing thing, and you and I have been doing this since the early 90s, and we've seen all kinds of coaches. And look, I have no doubt in my mind, Lane's one of the best coaches in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing, Trav, that you and I have seen is this: the how people treat Lane is how people used to treat coaches who won multiple championships.
Lane hasn't won anything.
No, no.
It's amazing. But when you think about the cycle right now in the market,
yeah,
he's the guy. There's really no question about it.
Oh, yeah. And Trav, do you have any doubt in your mind once this, whatever decision's made, is made, will we have several decisions made within a few days after that will clear some of this up?
And I still say there's going to be a surprise or two in this cycle.
No question. No question.
And I know there's been some rumblings about Kalen DeBoer potentially, and
Penn State,
and how these next 2 or 3 weeks go for some of these coaches is going to have a lot to do with that. I don't really think there's any doubt about that. Well, what we do know is we have football this weekend in the Southeastern Conference. Unfortunately, a lot of it does not entail league matchups, although we will get into some of those here in just a little bit. I wanted to kind of do just a drive-by, Brent, though, with some of these non-cons, because it is that Saturday.
It is
in the SEC, no doubt about it. We'll start with Samford. 1-10 Samford going through a coaching change. Chris Hatcher, the longtime coach there, in the Homewood area of Birmingham, going to be moving on or has moved on. Texas A&M, just a second half for all time after falling behind 30-3 to South Carolina last Saturday in College Station. Just comes back in the second half, races back into the lead or into the league, and then inexplicably dials up lateral type of option play from a true freshman that could have gone for a scoop and score for South Carolina to undo all of that second half work for Texas A&M. But instead, it is the Aggies who breathe a big sigh of relief after scoring, 28 in the second half? Came all the way back from 30-3 and get the job done. 2 halves for Marcel Reed. He was miserable in that first half, and then pretty much lights out in the second half. And it wasn't just Marcel Reed either. He had some receivers not catching the football for him. It was shocking in a lot of ways, but boy, A&M feeling good going into what will be an easy win over an FCS opponent in Samford.
Have you ever seen a team that basically is leading the SEC that has, and I'm not saying they're being ignored, but I'm just saying the other traditional powers in the league are getting a lot more attention than A&M is, and A&M may very well win the league. That's amazing. But again, to your point, I mean, Concepcion and Craver at wide receiver, Marcel Reed. I mean, their comeback, frankly, was, I don't know if I want to use the word legendary. That might be a bit much, but it was an amazing comeback with how they did. So, I mean, you're right about that. They play Sanford, then they're getting ready for a gargantuan game with Texas. But Trav, could this be could this be the team that wins the SEC and maybe is even undefeated and get the least amount of publicity we've seen in years?
Yeah, could be. They just haven't had the big stages. I mean, because they haven't played Georgia. They haven't played Alabama. They haven't played Ole Miss. They haven't played Vanderbilt. They haven't played Tennessee. Going to play Texas in a little more than a week's time. So that will be a big stage. And then when you go into Atlanta, that's obviously a big stage. The big stages are on the horizon for the Aggies. Hey, we thank you for chiming in here in the show chat, by the way. We're live on a Thursday night. Tim chiming in says drama coming. I agree, Tim. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Deborah offering up a good evening. Good
Good
evening to
evening.
you, Deborah. Beth James here in the show chat says, hello, guys. Hello,
Hello.
Beth. How are you doing? We
Hey, Beth.
appreciate it. You being here with us live on a Thursday night. And then Brian also chiming in here. Says, I bet Lang stays and shocks a lot of people. The son doesn't get uprooted. He can make Ole Miss his place, if you will, and they'll give him whatever he wants there. Could it be like Dabo at Clemson?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
why leave if you're Lane Kiffin? And the Knox Kiffin situation, being the young quarterback, I believe he's there at Oxford High School. It's a great situation for Lane
Sure
Kiffin,
it
no
is.
doubt about it.
And let me say real quick, there was a report tonight. I'm not saying this is true. That speaking of Dabo, has been talking to Arkansas. now, look, I'm to the point, and I learned this from you years ago. Is we can't believe everything we see right now.
No.
By any stretch of the imagination. So I'm not saying that's even true, but I'm just saying that is out there tonight. And right now, Trav, would anything surprise you, basically?
No, maybe the chicken and trucking money is coming to get Dabo
Yeah.
from the Northwest Arkansas area.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. There's going to be one or two of these, I think,
Sure there
that,
are.
that ultimately are
Yeah.
going to play out. It's going to be eyebrow raising when it's all said and done. Also, in the early window on Saturday, Charlotte 1-9 travels to Athens to take on a Georgia team. Talk about hitting the gas in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter. What about Georgia?
Wow.
With that pull away job from the Texas Longhorns there in the final 15 minutes last Saturday night in Athens, Brent.
Quite impressive to say the least. Now they admittedly have had Texas number. I don't think there's any question about that. Now, and a lot of this happened with C.J. Allen, one of the better players on the defense, going out, but they harassed Manning the whole night. Trev, is Gunnar Stockton, has he got his due? I mean, when you're 24-29 for 229, 4 touchdown passes and running for 29 yards and a touchdown, that's quite a game, is it not?
It is. They've gotten that run game going too.
They really do.
And that's going to be big for them. That'll travel extremely well in the playoff, and certainly with the way Georgia year in and year out plays defense. I've said it before. I think Gunnar Stockton, it was sort of a awakening for him after the loss to Alabama because he was not good. He was not aggressive. He was not, it seemed a little big for Gunnar Stockton in that Alabama game. But since then, he's been very much that guy at the quarterback position. And, guys have stepped it up around him. They've gotten healthier on the offensive line. They've improved on that offensive line. They've got a nice 1-2-3 type punch in the backfield.
They do.
They don't have Colby Young right now, right? But they have Zachariah Branch. London Humphreys steps up for them. Dylan Bell, when they really need it, that's their guy. I'm interested to see about C.J. Allen moving forward because, as you said, he is a very, very big part of that defense. But it's a peaking football team, it seems like, at the absolute right time. 2 Eastern on Saturday on that SEC Network Plus. The aforementioned Alabama Crimson Tide coming off a tough home loss, 17-game home win streak snapped by the Oklahoma Sooners last Saturday at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Eastern Illinois coming in from the OVC, an FCS opponent, just 3-8 on the season. This should be a trip to the health resort for Alabama to try to get rid of those bad feelings from last Saturday. I don't think they'll totally be able to shake that unless they go to Auburn a week from Saturday and knock off the Tigers.
Yeah. And by the way, long range forecast for that game at Auburn is
chilly,
dry and in the 30s.
Yeah.
Man, live. I know the Oklahoma game has been rehashed, and you and Chase have done this too. But I mean, Alabama, in many ways, it's that old thing. You can win the stats, but you can also lose a game, and that's what happened. And I think right now, what does Alabama and what does Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb do to rebuild some confidence and Ty Simpson, I think, is important. A lot of people not happy the way as far as Alabama fell in the rankings. To go along with that, Ty Simpson no longer in the Heisman race, which may actually be a good thing for him, not having the pressure. And look, Oklahoma deserves a lot of credit. I mean, they took advantage of Alabama miscues. Now, listen, as a former field goal kicker, you can add a lot to this. What in the world? When you've got a field goal kicker that is struggling right now to kick an extra point, look, I know the snap was high, but that was not a good look at all.
No.
To be chastising your long snapper when you hit a drive off the tee that went about as far as left as you could go. I knew as a former kicker that there were a lot of things you could appreciate about that one.
Yeah, I could definitely appreciate kicking one low and left like that for sure.
Yeah.
Did that more than a few times, but no, it was a high snap. Was it totally to blame for that kick? No, because Blake Dowd actually did a nice job with the hold.
He really did.
And the snap was hot. So if anything, it may have gotten back there even quicker.
Yeah.
What you really need it to be. Dowd got that thing down perfectly. And it's just a poor strike.
It was
Connor Talty. And yeah, the reaction wasn't good. A couple of ways you can look at that. You can look at it like snapper, holder, kicker spend so much time together. They're like a brotherhood. They're tight. I mean, those three positions, those guys, they're together all the time. So it's like your little brother, your big brother's your snapper, and your middle brother might be the holder. You know, it's that type of relationship typically between those guys. So it's rough in that you would publicly sort of admonish a brother like that. But you know what? That's what brothers do too.
Yep.
So it kind of works both ways. You feel like, hey, we know each other well enough. If one of us isn't good enough, then we're going to let the other know it. But ultimately, that kick was on Talty.
Yes.
I know that Wine for Oklahoma apparently got a tip on it, but the kick was dead coming off of Talty's foot.
Sure it
but
was.
You said it. Give Oklahoma a lot of credit. We'll get more in Oklahoma coming up here. That was the recipe for Oklahoma. The way that game went. And it was pretty amazing because when you say Alabama won the statistical battle, it wasn't just like total yards that Alabama won that.
Really.
They won red zone. They won, I mean, they won third down. And but boy, the turnover margin was a big one in favor of Oklahoma. And it wasn't just that Oklahoma had a big edge in turnover margin. They turned one into a non-offensive touchdown. And then special teams, it wasn't just Alabama's field goal miss. That punt return in the first quarter by Satina really started the short field theme. Short fields were the theme of the game.
Really,
I mean, you look at Alabama's touchdown drives, I think they were all 70 plus yards. You look at what Oklahoma had to do offensively, and you look at Oklahoma's total yards, you go, just 212, 215 yards. Well, yeah, they had about 150 yards in return yards in the game between defense and special teams. So Alabama looking to pick up the pieces in a team that is very much in playoff mode in the Alabama Crimson Tide when you think about Auburn in a week's time. Speaking of the Auburn Tigers, Ashton Daniels, Brent, is going to sit out the Mercer game on Saturday. That also is a 2:00 Eastern game on SEC Network Plus to preserve his red shirt. Totally expected to start against Alabama a week later. So Deuce Knight, we learned today, the true freshman, going to get the start behind center for the Auburn Tigers against the Bears of Mercer coming over from Macon.
I'm Trav. I will be really interested to see what Deuce Knight does. and just to see him on the field. Frankly,
Yep.
I think that's going to be fascinating as much as it is anything else. So I'm sure they'll play a lot of people, and I get that also. But obviously, look, we both know Auburn's been practicing this week for Alabama. That they're not practicing for Mercer. Well, I think we understand that.
Yeah, I don't think Ashton Daniels is running scout team and giving the Auburn D a look at the Mercer offense.
No,
Mercer
no.
9-1, all due respect,
Yes.
coming into this game, but I'm with you. If Ashton Daniels doing anything this week, since he's not getting ready for Mercer,
Yeah. Yeah.
I would think he's getting ready for the next opponent in the Alabama Crimson Tide. What about that job at Auburn? I mean, you hear a lot about Drink, you hear a lot
Yeah.
about Sumrall.
Right.
DJ Durkin. DJ Durkin, to me, he's kind of like the Kevin Steele candidate for
Yeah.
Auburn.
He is.
Remember when Kevin
He is.
Steele and he had that
Right.
backing and a lot of people wanted him in the job. That's kind of where I'm at with DJ Durkin. I guess whoever the next coach at Auburn is going to be, you're going to have some pretty nice tape on Deuce Knight after this week in terms of your next or your first quarterback is the successor to Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, well, and as you think about this, there are a lot of people that are enamored with the Tulane coach who has done a good job, frankly, in some role. But I mean, Trev, look, there's a big difference in being at Tulane and being in the SEC. And I'm not disparaging what Summerall has done. He's been really good. My understanding is his wife, I believe, went to Auburn at some point. So that certainly is going to be a fascinating thing. But, for Durkin, the word kind of is if he doesn't get the coaching job, they still want him to remain because of the job that he's done. So I think he's done well. Trev, imagine what the your highlights would be right now, or what's been said if Hugh Freeze was still coaching this team. The drama that would be in that going into this game and next week would be off the charts, would it not?
Yeah, what I want for Arkansas now that you mentioned Durkin staying around as the DC, if an outsider comes in as the head coach, I want Bobby Petrino as the OC for Dabo at Arkansas.
Yeah.
How about that?
Really?
Make that pairing work for us. Yeah, a lot to kind of still get to with Auburn in that situation at the head coach level. 4:15 Eastern on Saturday on the SEC Network. Coastal coming in from Conway, Coastal Carolina. The Chanticleers going to take on the host Gamecocks. Oof. Really? I mean, there's been some rough losses for South Carolina. I can't really remember one like last Saturday in College Station. And not just because of, losing a 30-3 lead, but you had Shane Beamer on the broadcast bringing up unsolicitedly that, we beat these guys by 24 last year, in game.
Yeah.
Then he's exhorting the crowd, going into the half up 30-3. There were just things that happened in that first half involving Shane Beamer that really had nothing to do with football that just made you think, oof, this could get sideways. A couple of things here that might end up coming back to haunt Shane Beamer in the Gamecocks. And look, this game may not be a gimme, depending on how South Carolina recovers from the road trip to A&M, because Coastal Carolina comes in 6-4, 5-2, and motivation won't be a problem for them.
No. Now listen, the thing with this is there aren't they between a rock and a hard place? I mean, you've got all these SEC schools who are making changes, and if South Carolina jumps in that pile or that pool, I mean, what are they going to do? But yet I also understand the situation where I mean, if Clemson put a knot on their noggin,
Mm-hmm.
that would not go over real well, would it? Would it, Trav? So I mean and look, in some ways I feel for Beamer. Look, I know they are depleted and so forth, but this still may not end well before the year's over.
Yeah, I mean, you're up 30-3, and if you have a legitimate first round quarterback,
Yeah, absolutely.
you can talk about the defense. You still got Dylan Stewart, Brian Thomas Jr. on
Right,
the defensive side
right.
of the ball. That front defensively for South Carolina is better than a lot of people realize, not
They
just the
are.
two edge guys. You got to get home.
Yeah, you
I don't
do.
care if you're playing the 78 Steelers or the 85 Bears.
Yeah, yeah.
You got to get home at 30-3. And that's just going to be one of those situations is going to be really hard to get to cover or go away. I don't know how you do that. It's just it's going to be a tough one for Shane Beamer. I think Beamer could be in that domino mix depending on how some other jobs. Right now, when I look at the jobs that are out there, I don't see Shane Beamer in this cycle or in this movement. But Drink, some of the Stoops, some of these jobs that haven't opened yet, you never know. Prime time Saturday night in Baton Rouge, Western Kentucky at 8-2. Going to pay a visit to Red Stick. The LSU Tigers coming off a harrowing home win over those Arkansas Razorbacks. Usually in a close game, if you give up a block punt for a touchdown, you don't win, but LSU was still able to do it last week. The Tigers now 6-4, going to finish here with Western Kentucky and then a road trip to take on the Oklahoma Sooners in a week's time. No Garrett Nussmeier. Have we seen the last of Garrett Nussmeier, you think, in an LSU uniform, Brent?
I think so. I mean, if they get way ahead of Western Kentucky, but Nussmeier is also injured, I understand. And Trav, at this point, if you're Nussmeier, I mean, I'm sure there's a competitor in him that would like to see the field. But I guess what I'm wondering with this abdomen injury that he's got, and is he content just to ride this out and to get on with his life shortly after the season is over?
I think there's a narrative as it relates to the next level too.
Yes.
I'm not disputing that he's dealt with an injury maybe all year long, but at this point, in terms of how this is going to be sold or presented to NFL teams, this maybe helps him on that front. That what, he's a tough guy, team guy, captain, played through some stuff all season long, got to the point where it just wasn't going to work, so he's shutting it down. More so than he just hasn't played well. So Michael Van Buren going to get another start. That's an interesting situation because the Tigers recently had another quarterback, scholarship quarterback from Jacksonville, leave the program, I believe. Colin Hurley, from Trinity Christian, has left the team for undisclosed reasons here recently. So, if Nussmeier really can't go, and you still got Oklahoma on the schedule,
you do.
I'm not sure is AJ Swan. I don't even know what that depth chart looks like at LSU right now. Maybe AJ Swan is still there, or I know he was before, but just some scenarios that could be problematic.
Yeah, no question. Oh
yeah. Swan's not there. He hadn't been there in a while.
Listen, Trav, do you remember a team in a long time that has the talent on it that LSU does? I'm thinking about guys like Harold Perkins, who I don't know if Perkins ever really lived up to the hype either. But the thing that is so reminiscent of them as of the last few years is the recruiting done, the talent on that team, and not really being able to live up to what they and who they think they are.
That's kind of the LSU of my lifetime, though.
Yeah, it
For the
is,
most
isn't it?
part, it
Yeah.
really is. I mean, I've been around to see some really talented LSU teams that
Mm-hmm.
have underachieved. Now, you say that, and they've had 3 national championship
Yeah,
teams in the
that's true.
last 20 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been the big successes too, but it's felt a lot like boom or bust
Yes.
for
Yeah, very
LSU
much.
throughout the year. So what we're going to do now, Brent, is we're going to get into the league action for Saturday.
Yes.
How about we start in that noon Eastern slot? Missouri, ranked 22nd in the nation, traveling to Norman to take on the Oklahoma Sooners, an old Big 8 matchup, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Going back, little
absolutely.
retro with this one. Ahmad Hardy, just incredible last week.
Really, really.
Goes off for 300 yards. We talked about Oklahoma, the recipe for the Sooners under Brent Venables, take the football away, create scoring opportunities for the offense, and able to get the job done. Now Oklahoma in that precarious position still. Oklahoma's still in playoff mode. Oklahoma was
Yeah.
in playoff
Well,
mode
they
against
are.
Tennessee a few weeks
Right.
ago. They were in playoff mode against Alabama. Doesn't change any this week or next week for that matter.
No, it certainly won't. A couple of things here, frankly, and you mentioned Hardy. Trev, would you say that the Oklahoma defense may be really looking out for Mr. Hardy as he
I would
as he
think so,
gets
yeah.
as he gets the ball, and could we actually see Bo Pribula as a
Mhm.
possibility? Now he may have been ruled out, or he may just be on
No.
probable or something like that. But
The availability reports just came out about 45 minutes ago for today, the Thursday report, and Bo Pribula has been upgraded from doubtful to questionable. So it
yeah,
seems like he's trending
yeah,
more towards at least having a chance
sure,
having a chance to play. It's going to be a fun game because you're talking about the number 1 rushing offense in the SEC,
that's right.
number 1 rushing defense in the SEC. When you look at Missouri running it, Oklahoma slowing it down. But I'll tell you this: if Missouri wins this game, what people aren't talking about, Missouri has the number 1 total defense in the Southeastern
Yeah,
Conference,
really. Yeah,
and so they could get into a situation where Oklahoma had the best of all worlds last weekend in Tuscaloosa because that offense
yeah.
didn't have to do a lot. They were 3 of
Mhm.
13 on third down.
Yes.
Oklahoma was last week against Alabama. This could be one of those 17-10,
Hmm.
20-14
Oh
type of
yeah.
games
Yeah.
Saturday at Owen Field.
Yeah. Absolutely. Uh, Give credit again, as I know you have, to that Oklahoma defense and what they did. Look, that is a group that is. I'm not saying they're the best defense in the nation, but they're one of them. I mean, they've got some dudes on that defense who can play. And look, they do what you want. They
Mhm.
set their offense up to where their offense doesn't have to do a lot. And unfortunately for Alabama, that's certainly what happened last week.
Yeah, our Mason Thomas, the outstanding
Yes.
edge for Oklahoma, didn't play against Alabama last week. Tonight, he's listed as questionable, not probable,
Yeah.
and not off the report entirely. So
Hmm.
I think he's dealing with that quad injury that he sustained on the touchdown return for a score against Tennessee a few weeks ago. So we'll see if he's able to get back this week. For the Oklahoma Sooners. So there you go. Coming up early on Saturday, OU and Missouri. Also on Saturday in that mid-afternoon slot, 3:30 ABC, Arkansas at Texas. Another retro matchup. Southwest
Yeah.
Conference
Really.
revisited in this one. And you wonder really for both teams, but Texas now knowing, and especially the way that fourth quarter went in Athens,
Hmm.
9.5 point favorite are the Longhorns on Saturday at
Yes.
home. Arkansas, if there's a better 2-8 team in the country,
Yeah.
I don't
Really.
know who it is. I mean,
I don't
I
either.
know that adds up to nothing if you're an
Yeah.
Arkansas fan,
Yeah. Right.
but every game they've been in this year, for the most part, when it comes to SEC play, but still winless in Southeastern Conference action. You talked about the Dabo Sweeney buzz or talk or whatever it is. James Franklin apparently was in that mix. He decides on Virginia Tech instead. So Arkansas still got some things to figure out where its future is concerned. And then what about Sark this week going on the teleconference
Really?
and really getting after it about rumors that
Yes.
he might be on the move? This Texas team, they need to end on a positive note. They're going to have an opportunity to do it with Arkansas and Texas A&M coming to Austin in the next 2 weeks.
Oh yeah. Arch Manning. You can look at Arch's numbers: 27 of 43 for 251, a touchdown and an interception, and tell you what how they're doing. They did give up on the run against Georgia, and I get that. I mean, Georgia's kind of owned that series. Anthony Hill, leading tackler for Texas, suffered a broken bone early on in that game. Trev, I know this sounds kind of comical, but I've heard even ideas, and we'll count it as just that. Okay, you got Petrino with the defense. With the offense, could you get someone of his talent on the defensive end and kind of have two coaches coach them both as far as units?
If you're going to do that, just put Petrino in as the head coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I got a kick out of Yurachek talking about Alabama's run game as the chair for the selection committee a couple of nights ago, and how that's problematic in the eyes of the committee and for him, where Alabama's CFP viability is concerned. Well, you know what? Arkansas runs the ball great.
Yeah.
Arkansas ranks second in the SEC in rushing offense, and I haven't seen Hunter go ahead and just make Bobby Petrino the permanent head coach moving forward. I guess it doesn't apply as much to his own program. But you said it with Texas. Anthony Hill, by the way, with that injury against Georgia, listed as questionable this week. Ryan Wingo, the wide receiver, is also on the availability report, but he is probable. I think this is going to be another Arkansas take it into the fourth quarter and lose type situation. I mean, it's impossible for me to pick Arkansas to win this game, but I totally can anticipate this being a really good football game. I think Arkansas is kind of like Florida. I think Arkansas and Florida are similar in a lot of ways.
That's a good point.
From the quarterback on, okay, in terms of up and down and bipolar and those type of things. And I think, we saw Florida beat Texas. The game was in Gainesville. But I think Arkansas is kind of built like Florida. So I could see the Razorbacks being troublesome for the Longhorn Saturday. It's just impossible to pick Arkansas at 0-6 in the league right now to win that game against UT. Also on Saturday, Brent, as we keep it moving here, Kentucky at Vanderbilt. This is typically a time of the season for Vanderbilt. You get deeper into the pool, you get into the deep end a little bit, and Vanderbilt has been through it for 8, 9, 10 games, and it starts to show up. But different Vanderbilt, it seems like this time around. Kentucky playing for bowl eligibility under Mark Stoops, trying to get back into the bowl picture. But it won't be easy. With Vanderbilt this week, on the road in Nashville, and then go to Louisville next weekend, does Kentucky.
Vandy has not beaten Vandy since Vanderbilt has not won a game against Kentucky since 2015. So it's it has been a while. Looks like they've kind of set the future on Cutter Bowley a little bit. Which I thought was interesting. Could try, and there's been a lot of thought about what will Kentucky make a coaching change. I mean, the reality is, if they were to win this game, I think they probably would stay put and go into next year and see how this would go. So Kentucky again, Trav, is one of these teams that they may make a move, but yet if they keep winning games with Stoops, he's going to make it pretty hard to fire him.
That's why would you get rid of him?
Yeah.
If he gets to 6 wins and he ends the season on a pretty strong note, winning
Mm-hmm.
4 or 5 in a row,
Especially if they
or
beat Louisville.
winning 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they went to Louisville a couple of years ago and got the job done. So I'm with you. I don't if he gets one of these two,
Mm-hmm.
unless he wants to move on, I'd have a hard time seeing Kentucky just outright cutting
Mm-hmm.
ties with him,
Yeah.
especially given
Agreed.
the success they've had with him in the past. Vanderbilt still with a lot to play for, even
No doubt.
besides the college football playoff, because we just haven't
Mm-hmm.
seen this kind of Vanderbilt
Yeah.
with the potential to win 9, 10 games, and not just in the Southeastern Conference, but in a recently expanded SEC
Mm-hmm.
with Texas and Oklahoma coming in here. And then we'll see with Diego, what the future
Yeah.
brings for him.
Yeah. He he wants another year,
Yeah, I mean, who knows? But yeah, I like Vanderbilt at home on
Mm-hmm.
Saturday to get the job done though against Kentucky.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. But frankly, with the kind of Saturday it's going to be, this frankly could be one of the better games.
Yeah, I like that. I like that 3:30 window. I mean, I know Arkansas hadn't won. I'll watch Bobby Petrino dial up an offense against Texas every day of the week. I'll be tuned in. Another one, similar type of theme coming up this weekend, right? Because
Yes.
maybe some games back in the preseason that we anticipated as being potentially of
Mm-hmm.
magnitude once we got to this latter stage of November. It's not going to be that way. Tennessee, a 4-point favorite, going to Florida to take on the Gators. Boy, there was a time, Brent, not
Yep.
that long ago,
Yep.
where
Yep.
this was absolutely one of those games nationally
Mm-hmm.
that you anticipated. And uh, Tennessee, with some controversy, I guess, this week with the Boo Carter situation, is something that's just lingered with the balls
Yeah, it
going
has.
back to the offseason, the
Mm-hmm.
preseason. Looks like it finally came to a head this week. And so we'll see if the Balls, as a 4-point favorite, can go on the road and get it done against a Florida team. It just seems like week to week. Sounds like Caleb Banks, though, the star Florida
Yeah.
defensive lineman, may be
Yeah.
able to go this week.
Yeah, possibly. But the problem is George Gums is
He's
going
out.
to now have surgery on his right knee. So, Trev, it's that kind of year for Florida, right? You get one back and you lose one, is what it amounts to. The interesting thing here, and this is one of the things Florida still can hang their hat on, Tennessee has not won at Florida since 2003.
Wow.
That's amazing when you think about that. And by the way, there were some reports that that John and I don't think it got anywhere, but John Sumrall, and this may be in just Florida, checking everything out here, seeing what their options were, but that John Sumrall did not interview at Florida. And that was called off. He removed his name from the search. We may never know what really happened there, but at the same time, be a lot of Kiffin talk. Obviously, this weekend going on in Gainesville too, and Tennessee trying to finish. I mean, look, that would mean something to them to beat Florida and Vanderbilt to end the season.
That would be helpful
It would.
to Josh Heupel, especially with the turmoil and the overturn and the turnover at the quarterback
Mhm.
position. To go through that with Nico, settle on Joey Aguilar, and still win 9 games.
Yeah,
I
really.
think that would be
Agree.
viewed in a pretty positive light. Kind of an under the radar sort of absence for Tennessee this week. Guy that's been important to their offense is tight end Miles Kitselman.
Yeah, true.
I'm gonna go. I haven't learned my lesson about the Florida Gators. I'm picking Florida
Yeah,
Saturday night
yeah,
because why not? I
sure,
mean, now
sure.
I'm with you. Yeah, if Caleb Banks comes back, that's great for Florida. But I think Gums is a guy that hadn't gotten enough credit
No, he
this
hasn't. I
season.
agree.
for what he brings
Mhm.
to that defense. But if you have Banks and Sapp in that defensive front, yeah, I think you can still do some good things. The wild card, as we know, is Lagway. I mean, is it going to
Yeah.
be
Oh,
a
yeah.
4 interception night?
Absolutely.
Is it going to be clean?
Mhm.
And he's going to be without Eugene Wilson the third. He's going to be without Dallas Wilson.
Yeah.
So Vernell Brown, the outstanding freshman, is questionable on tonight's player availability report. So some firepower concerns. But what the heck? I'm going to go with the Gators at home Saturday night.
And I'll throw this out there too. Florida really wants Lane Kiffin, and we're not saying he's going there, but that's a guy that they covet. I think Trav, if he stays at Ole Miss or goes to LSU, my question would be, and this is a really important hire for them, and they really need to get this right. If it's not Kiffin, who it would be is an interesting subject that we can get into over the next few weeks.
Yeah, for me, and I know it was not a good loss here recently for Louisville losing to Cal
Yeah,
at home. But I would probably still prefer Jeff Brom.
yeah, I agree with you on
Uh,
that. Yes,
yeah, I know Eli Drinkwitz is going to be mentioned in all of these. But the thing I go back to with him is part of my interview with him would be, so is Kirby Moore coming too
yeah,
as
really,
the offensive coordinator? Because
absolutely.
if he's not,
Yeah,
then, because Brom, he's the guy on
mhm,
offense too.
yes,
Um, so that would be my sort of backup. It wouldn't be Jed Fish.
yeah,
It would be someone like Jeff
mhm,
Brom.
yeah.
What about you? Do you have a
Yeah, I
guy that
agree.
you would?
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that totally.
Yeah.
I think that would be I think that'd be a good, safe choice. But look, I mean, you and I cover the ACC to a degree as we do the SEC. I mean, that's just wild over there right now, isn't it, Trav? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting an amazing amount of upsets over the
Mhm.
last few weeks, and for a guy like Brom, and look, the games they've lost, they were in, and some of them lost late, so
Mhm.
the potential is there. I think Brom's a really good coach.
Yeah, it's going to be for Florida if they don't, especially Florida. If Florida doesn't get Lane Kiffin,
Yes.
there is going to be no um, there's going to be no candidate that can sort of bring that
Yeah.
the pieces back together
Mhm.
like Lane is going to be looked upon to do. But I think big picture wise, Jeff Brom could be a nice hire
Yeah,
for
he could
anyone
be. I
if he
agree.
wants to leave Louisville. I mean, that's
Yeah,
his alma mater.
true.
A lot of people, they haven't been to
Mhm.
Louisville or they haven't seen that facility or the commitment to football that there is at Louisville. It's very legit
It
and
sure
has
is.
been for a while now.
Mhm.
So he's not in the poorhouse. I
No,
mean,
no,
obviously it's a big step up going to a place like Florida or LSU. But it's not a situation where I'm sure he feels like, oh man, I got to take this Florida job. I
yeah.
mean, I don't think he probably looks at it that way, but we'll see. Brent, anything else before we get out of here on a Thursday night?
Well, I think we basically covered it. I mean, the reality is, and this is a decent weekend, but think about a couple of things here. Number one, a year from now, if the SEC does what they have said they're going to do, instead of playing these games, there's going to be a ninth SEC game that's going to be in here somewhere.
Yep.
And look, Trev, I get some of the commentary that I've seen this week is why if this committee,
Mm-hmm.
the playoff committee, is not taking seriously your strength of schedule.
Yeah.
Why do you really want to go to 9 games? And frankly, I can see the argument for that.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's valid, the concern there, because it was kind of an ominous uh, feel to the comments most recently
Yeah,
a couple nights ago, as if, well, the losses were better. I mean,
yeah,
what does it matter that we have three or four for a particular team? over top 15, top 25 opponents. I mean, what's the true value at the end of the day? So, yeah. And also, these committees with the changes on them, committees can be different year to year.
They really can.
So
no doubt.
You don't really know what the criteria is going to be at any given time.
You don't. And look, if your criteria, if you're, in essence, this is what they've done. They have valued what you might call bad losses, over good wins. And look, as long as you and I've done this for several decades, Trev, aren't these good wins important?
They should be. You would think they would be, especially when strength of schedule is taken into account as a whole. I mean, basically what I'm hearing from the committee is play the 50th strength of schedule. And
really
don't have a loss that could come back to bite you at the end. Then play the 7th ranked strength of schedule. Have one loss that right now may not look very good. And you're done for, even with 4, 5, 6 other wins that look really, really good. So that seems to be the message anyway. Well, Brent, as always, a lot of fun with you here on the Reier on YouTube channel. It's a busy weekend in the SEC. Maybe not as impactful, but you say that, and then a couple of upsets happen, and then we're back here next week. Wow. Everything turned upside down. Vanderbilt's 8th in the CFP poll, because there's games around the country that could impact this thing too. There's games like USC and Oregon. That obviously could play a big role in how this thing looks, even in a week's time. Well, Brent, again, enjoyed it, my man. We'll do it again soon.
Me too, brother. Take care.
Thanks everyone for tuning in here live on the Reier on YouTube channel. Hit that thumbs up if you don't mind. That would help us out. Hit the subscribe button. Turn on those notifications. That way you're alerted to our content as it drops right here on Reier on YouTube. For Brent Beaird, Travis Reier, thanking you once again. Have a great Southeastern Conference weekend, and we'll check back in with you right here on Second Helping next week.